Our generation, it teaches you to breathe.
Right.
It teaches you to let each other breathe. Let there be just silences
Right.
between each other. It has taught me so much as a person as well.
The beautiful part is that he meets someone who is completely probably the polar opposite in terms of morality, in terms of the way they think, the kind of backgrounds they come from.
Pavail said, Abhay has dreams which he's okay to go to any extent to fulfill because dreams are so important to him.
I think वो सपने देखना बहुत important है. सपने नहीं देखोगे तो fulfill कैसे करोगे?
I really miss Manjari because it was Manjari goes and studies in Xavier's in a college where I went and studied.
Guys, firstly, congratulations. I have to just first say that I genuinely enjoyed the teaser so much. It's so relatable. You totally understand these two people who are so maybe different from each other and, you know, with different thoughts. So, totally loved it. Big congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Coming from you, it really
Yeah.
does
Thank
mean
you.
Loved
Seriously,
it very
yeah.
much. I'll start with you. You tell the audience who are watching, what is this guy like? How is he extremely different from her in what ways?
I think he's one of those guys who अपनी औकात से ज़्यादा dream करता है. And he has the capacity to fulfill it also. And he will leave no stone unturned to like how, you know, in the first teaser, like how you saw when she says ना कि he's one of those people who says कि यार कुछ भी cool नहीं होना चाहिए. He's not satisfied with good or average. He's only satisfied with being the greatest.
Right.
सब कुछ फाड़ू होना चाहिए.
हाँ.
So I think he belongs to that category of dreamers and sharp guy who knows what he wants and he only wants the best and will stop at nothing. And the beautiful part is that he meets someone who is completely probably the polar opposite in terms of morality, in terms of the way they think, the kind of backgrounds they come from.
Right.
And how these two people being so different find each other and become anchors to each other.
Okay.
And that's what I love. That's what they love about each other.
Right. You know, your character is completely different, and is she the one who is more realistic? What is she like?
more realistic, I would say. Like Pavel said, Abhay has dreams which he's okay to go to any extent to fulfill because dreams are so important to him.
Right.
And like we saw in the last teaser that
Yes.
we put out, he has this like brutal honesty which you don't really see probably in our generation where things are so fast moving, love is so impatient.
Right.
So this love story is so beautiful because for me, I'm like someone who's like in our generation, it teaches you to breathe.
Right.
It teaches you to let each other breathe. Let there be just silences
Right.
between each other. It has taught me so much as a person as well. So Manjari is someone who's more rooted and who's more she's been brought up in a certain way and she, like he said, is very moralistic. So there are certain do's and don'ts for her.
Okay.
So that's where the fun comes because these two very diametrically opposite people fall in love.
yeah.
And then how she stays an anchor in his life because she's someone who's been so moralistic and she's madly in love with him.
Okay.
So it's so layered and so beautiful because it's something that we don't see in our generation, or it's not like a show that we've seen in India, I think. I don't think we've seen something like this.
Amazing. I'll come back to these characters. I've absolutely loved them from the teaser. I want to ask you, where was this story born, and what was on your mind when you first, when the first thoughts came? Who should be in it?
So the story is actually has been written by Soumya Joshi,
Yeah.
who's a theatre writer, director, very talented. And the reason why what you're liking is because he has not been diluted by the way screenplays are written this is his first screenplay.
Okay.
And he has also gone through the journey. So there's no baggage for him at all. And together, I think it took us 2 years to like literally come to the space which we're seeing right now. And usually with all our screenplays, whatever films I have made, we never think of the actors while writing the
Okay.
screenplay. I think for me that is a road to disaster, is because then what happens is that you start looking at the actors' attributes and start putting that into the
Right.
into the screenplay. And I think that also restricts to see new actors in a different light.
Yeah.
Because then again, you know, we as storytellers, and I think also with the way the industry is, that we tag creators very quickly, that we put them in boxes, that okay,
Right.
this actor can only do this kind of roles, or this director can only direct this kind of films, or this writer will write only this kind of writing.
Right.
And that is true to some extent, but not true to a larger extent, is because a good actor, a director and a writer has to be like a chameleon who can get into any
Anything.
kind of roles.
yeah.
And that is the beauty of being just good and best.
Right. When she gave you these lines and you did it audition on your, were you convinced that you want to do this? What was it about those lines that you thought, the fact that you were doing the audition means you wanted to do it? What connected and you thought?
No,
you
so
wanted-
for me, honestly, every actor has a wish list of people they want to work with, and I didn't know her at all.
Okay.
So I didn't know her at all, and I kind of got her number from somewhere because I auditioned and I said, generally wanted to message saying, do you want me to do it any different way?
Right.
Because I wanted to reach out to her because she was on my wish list, because all her female characters are so strong. If you see all her films, they all stand out, and they're characters that you can't forget.
True.
So it just felt like, okay, Ashwiny Iyer Tiwari is directing this. It's like Anurag Kashyap's directing this. You don't ask really too much more. With Ashwiny Iyer Tiwari directing it, you can be certain that the female character is going to be very, very strong. And after that is, when I was auditioning, I read those lines and they're just so, it's such a beautifully written show. I remember I was going to Ladakh after I auditioned, and then she sent me the entire screenplay. So I used to keep sending her like screenshots saying, wow, what is this? What is this writing? What is this writing? Because it's just so beautifully written.
Right.
And it really resonated with me because it was almost, very similar to what my upbringing has been.
Okay.
So none of the characters I've done so far I've resonated with personally so much.
Right.
So be it the music I listen to, be it the poetry I read, the upbringing I have at home, or just kind of, not being in the rat race constantly.
Right. You know what she was saying earlier was so interesting, that people will quickly judge and say that, oh, he's a tapori, he's something like that. You want to explain to people how to not misinterpret this character and someone like him?
I think he's one of those guys who is not just daring or honest, but he backs it up with talent.
Right.
So he doesn't come from, of course he doesn't come from privilege. He कई बार होता है there are tapori वो होगा कि मतलब मैंने सोच लिया तो मैं कर लूंगा without backing it up.
Right.
He is a person who backs it up. He is knowledgeable, he works towards it. So it's not like वो poverty से आता है तो वो educated नहीं है. He's an educated man. उसको अंग्रेजी आती है, अच्छे से बात करता है. So he's worked towards it. So I think that's very different about it.
You're saying you're saying this guy backs whatever he says, he believes. Her line is so lovely that time, that इतने पैसे कुछ कम नहीं है 2 करोड़ का घर खरीदने के लिए. So how does he back some dream which is just so big?
I think that's something that you'll watch in the show.
Right.
But like he says, सपने देखने में क्या जाता है.
Right.
And I think all of us here, like I was telling you, talking about it, we come to Bombay from a very different city completely, and it's not easy to come into this industry.
Absolutely,
so you have to have those big dreams which are impossible. And I think that's why Abhay is also like that, कि उसके इतने बड़े सपने हैं. By the end of it, जैसे मुझे इतने साल लग गए, इसको इतने साल लग गए. I think वो सपने देखना बहुत important है. सपने नहीं देखोगे तो fulfill कैसे करोगे?
Right. Do you relate to this character?
Very much.
The
that
thought
part,
of it, that part.
Yeah. That's absolutely the case with a lot of us here.
Right.
बड़े सपने नहीं होते तो बड़ी जगह पर नहीं आते.
Absolutely. Do you relate to your character saying, this is too much of a big dream? That do you relate to that part as well? Because that shows someone who's so rooted, saying, let's live within our boundaries.
No, personally, I like Pavail said, I think if you want to be an actor,
Right.
and if you can't dream big, that's the first thing. Is the
Right,
first thing is to dream big.
Hmm.
In the dreaming big, I feel you can't go completely delusional. So there is a line between being delusional
Yeah.
and being realistic, where you know that yes, this is my dream, but I won't be delusional. So maybe Abhay becomes delusional at some point,
Okay,
maybe, but I feel Manjari is someone who dreams. She doesn't have any problems in dreams, but she knows that she'll not be delusional.
Right.
And I feel that is something which is also very important for people like us who want to be actors. You have to dream big, because if you don't dream the dream,
True.
how do you make it come true, like Pavail said? But you can't cross that line,
Yeah.
because then you just get lost in the game and you
Yeah.
forget what you're there for,
Yeah.
which is the craft.
Right.
So
What's common between Manjari and you? What's the common between the character and you? In what did you observe?
I feel, like I said, a lot of it with regards to just the way I was brought up, with regards to morality or what right and wrong is for Manjari and for me, with regards to the poetry she listens to, the music she listens to, is exactly what I did. With regards to, I have grown up in mountains and lakes, so Manjari is from Konkan, where she's grown up in by the lake, walking with her dad in the lake. That's exactly what I did, to the extent of Ashwini ma'am had come to Nasik. We did a few readings in Nasik, and she used to see my dad and me, and she's like, oh my god, this is exactly who I want your dad to be. Now I need to, can he act? I was like, no, please, I don't want him on set. But so I feel I'm very, I've never felt this close to a character.
Nice.
Which is why after we finished shoot, I went on to doing 4 other projects right after that. But I really miss Manjari, because it was, Manjari goes and studies in Xavier's, in a college where I went and studied. So
Oh
it
my
was just
God.
so
Wow,
nostalgic.
that's-
I was so
It
nostalgic.
was how many times have I got a tour of that college because of her?
Of course,
This was my
lovely,
classroom.
yeah.
This is
Yeah,
what we
but
used
it's
to
a
do.
dream.
Totally
When
amazing.
you're in college, you dream one day I'll come back here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was that dream coming true,
Yeah,
right? So it was a
yeah.
big thing for me. So there's
And you've
so
succeeded
much.
in what you do, and going back must be so
Yeah,
emotional.
I was just really excited. So
yeah.
there's so much which was close to me.
Sure.
So I actually really miss not being able to wake up and be Manjari on set,
Right.
because this is a character which is really close
Right.
to me.
Do you think human emotions are some of the best stories that people can relate to when they are watching?
Oh, yes, completely. Whatever I have done, I've always felt that human emotions are something which can bring people together, can evoke emotions of
Right.
love, of afterthoughts.
Right.
uh, Movies have the ability, when I say movies, whether it's web series or OTT films or theatrical films, whatever
Right,
it is,
right.
stories have the ability to inspire, aspire, change perceptions, and to also have afterthought in humans.
Right, right.
How much of a gaming cannot do that?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Movies can. That's why movies live an afterlife. They have
Absolutely.
a long journey.
This is a conversation I swear I can go on and on, but you all
Yeah.
have many more interviews to do.
Yeah.
So best of luck. Hope this does
Thank
very
you.
well for each one.
We
of
should
you.
do
Thank
another
you so
interview
much.
only on
Thank
human
you.
emotion.